But yeah, I heard there's been some kind of disputes with the Success Entertainment, but I don't know anything about that, so I guess somebody else can fill us in on that. Let's see if we can find any of those rewards, actually. Nothing's really happening right now on the screen, as you can see. Transporters are transporting, guards are guarding. It's gonna take some time. Oh yeah, well, I found the story for the game, so maybe I could read that for you. It is the 22nd century, after years of war and famine of unfathomable level. Jesus Christ, who writes these kind of words? The world is returning to normal. 12 states of the previous United States wait a minute, 12 states? I thought they had more. Oh well. Have joined to form what the fuck, man? It's like I'm drunk or something. Oh well. Have decided to join to form the United Civilized States. While in Asia, a new empire was being created under the iron fist of the Khans. These Mongol descendants gave themselves a name meant to conjure up an association with a glorious former age, the Eurasian dynasty. The UCS now relied on robots for all their needs. Even their military is controlled by machines. Golan, the leader of the UCS military forces, had recently been altered by order of the current president, leading to a number of glitches throughout the system. One of these caused it to underestimate the Eurasian dynasty's defensive capabilities, causing it to initiate the movement of a large force to occupy the British Isles. And you know what that means. It means it's fucking fucked. Jesus, I can't get out of this fucking pit. What, did he get stuck in here too? Shit. Great, the builder got stuck. Oh well, he got us a ditch. This mistake resulted in another violent war lasting almost a decade. However, Golan managed to gain the upper hand against the battle-hardened Khans, and so the ED resorted to the usage of advanced atomic weaponry. The ED attacked an encampment of UCS forces at the North Pole. The massive destructive force... Oh, sorry. I started making shit up. With a massive strike involving newly developed and untested atomic weaponry in an attempt to put a decisive end to the hostilities. The catastrophic resulting explosions pushed the Earth out of regular orbit and towards the Sun. Aware that the Earth's orbit has become unstable, a third faction living peacefully on the Moon, known as the Lunar Corporation, joins the war in an attempt to defeat or reconcile both sides for the Commonwealth. And yeah, basically that. Let's see if I can find something about UCS. Well, we already know most of the shit about the Eurasian dynasty. Primitives ruled by Mongoloids or something like that. No big deal. There's nothing that you don't need to know or need to know. It's very basic. That's why people started this faction. Like me. Yeah, here's some shit about UCS. Because we're really not doing much. We're just transporting goods, so we might as well read up on that. This faction is a demarchy that controls North and South America. The name implies that the United States of America gradually expanded its borders to include the entire continent. United Civilized States is a highly technologically based faction and have come to use robots to replace people in as many positions as possible. Which means Americans have gotten so damn fat and nobody got left to give a shit about them. The UCS scientists, created under the supervision of President Jonathan Swamp, NEO, and Golan, a huge step in technological advances. Golan was essentially leader of the UCS army, while NEO was interested in politics. It was a machine capable of matching and potentially far surpassing any organic general. It controlled the entire UCS army, including all the military robots. What else? These bipedal robots, or mecha, are just as effective as a human-piloted vehicle. The UCS has a robotic theme to its structures and vehicles. They have exclusive access to powerful weapons, such as grenade launchers, shadow generators, and plasma cannons, which we probably won't get to see anyway. Or if we will, we'll probably have to destroy them. Other technologies include reverse-engineered anti-gravity propulsion systems from a crashed UFO. Oh, so aliens do exist. And modified 105 and 120mm cannons, stolen from the ED. Sons of bitches! UCS vehicles include Tiger, Panther, Jaguar and Spider Mechs, Gargoyle, Bat and Dragon aircraft. But that doesn't matter any fucking more, because it seems like we have completed our mission. Good. Also, on the Metacritic, the score is 4 out of 5. So, yeah. Message from headquarters. Mission accomplished. You can now select your next battle zone. Signed, Captain Dmitry Krutov. Like any good strategy game, you are able to change the speed of the playthrough. If you use the number pad plus and minus keys, you will be able to increase the game speed or decrease it. But if you think you want it to go back to normal, just press the star, also known as the asterisk, and there you fucking go. We should wait a bit actually. Maybe we can store a few more resources. Alright, here we go. End mission. This area is not clear of enemy units, and resources worth 17,250 can't be sent to base. Do you want to end this mission anyway? In our current situation, it's best to say no. Why? Because we got some useful units which we could make use of. While the builder is permanently stuck in the ditch because he didn't account for his stupidity while digging for it, the pathfinding AI is not the best one out here. We can still make use of these Pamirs, which we might as well. Let us recycle these fine things. Here you are. Now, as I mentioned, I will be getting some resources for the use of cheats. Here's what I gotta tell you, ladies and gentlemen. As soon as you get all the resources for your main objective... Oh shit. No, don't unload. As soon as you get all of the resources for your main mission, the game will end. So if you're gonna cheat resources, don't give them to the spaceport. You'll end the campaign too early. And you'll miss out on a lot of useful and maybe even cool missions. Seems like we spent a whole total of about 1 or 2 days. Time doesn't fly as fast as you think here. The day and night cycle exists for a good reason too. At night, it is much more difficult to notice a unit. In fact, it is quite difficult to see anything at night unless we have lights on, which can be used to sneak into somebody's base. If you turn off the lights from your unit, you will be much more difficult to detect, essentially being able to sneak up on the enemy and backstab them without them ever noticing you. Certain stealth technologies will also take advantage of this. Alright, we have access to an upgraded chassis. Speaking of research actually, let me show you how this works. at the bottom you have a bunch of fucking buttons. There's tunnel view, there's well, this thing, there's the research, and then there's construction center. We'll get to the construction center later. Right now, what makes us very interested is the research. Click on the bulb and you will enter this place. Whenever you have anything new to research, you will be able to see it here or in the research tree. Right now we can only see one thing, and that is the upgraded chassis for the Pamir tanks. Left click on it and you will start research. There's a good reason why there's so many tabs for research. Let's see that again. There's chassis, weapons, ammo, and special. Well, I think you'll figure out why this is a thing soon enough. But first... oh, here it is. See this little thing? That's a research center. Some people might not know this, but there is a very nice trick. One research center allows you to do research. But if you have 3 research centers, you will be able to speed up your research efforts tremendously. Also, how about we do those cheats? The best way to start cheating is to type in your cheat, I wanna cheat. And then for the money, I love this game, I believe. Yep, here we go. I like these kind of cheats. Much better than random number and key combinations. Now don't worry, since you have money here, it doesn't mean that it's going to be sent to the spaceport. You see, for the spaceport you have to specifically give it resources from your resource pool to be counted. And it will only send resources once it has met a particular threshold. I think 5,000 or 10,000 resources, that's when it will start sending them. Don't know. I think it's 10,000. But anyway, we got 3 research centers, which made our research efforts much faster. It cut down on a couple of minutes time for the upgraded Pamir chassis. Now let's check out the construction center. This is the most important part of the game. In fact, if you never visit this place, you will not win. Why? Let me show you something. This is your weapons production center. This is where you make your units. Now let's have a look. Let's have a look here on the right. What do you see? Nothing. And if you see nothing, that's probably because your eyes are not fucking broken. And also because we have no units. But this is where it gets interesting. You see, the game doesn't give us any units because we have to make our own. And this is where a construction center comes in. For the ED units, it's pretty self-explanatory. Well, for all of them. However, keep one thing in mind. Only ED will always have this, the fake unit. What's it good for? To make yourself look powerful. Fake units do not come with actually working weapons. They just look like normal units, but they are not units. They're just decoys. They're also very cheap and take a very little time to build. But don't bother. It's a waste of time. Right now we have access to 2 different chassis, TT Pamirs, TT100 Pamirs, and ZK Tigers. They all have their own specific stats. For instance, Pamirs have 180 HP, but they have some armor and 21 speed. Whereas ZK Tigers, they have more HP, 450, but they have absolutely no armor. But what's this? Shield? That's something new, right? We'll get to that later. Once you select your chassis, go over here and click on Equipment 1. Then you will be given the choice of weapons. Since we only have the cannon, we can only choose that. Once you do that, you will see a little preview here, some stats here, in which we can see how much damage, how much range, does it attack air units, in which case it doesn't, how long it will take to build it, how much it will cost. And last but not least, we can change the name of our tank and maybe even assign a different script should we have one. For ZK Tigers we have some different equipment. You see, ZK Tigers are usually used for transporters, which is why it has this carrier thing. This allows the Tiger to carry crates of resources. Not necessary though. But we also have the 20mm chain gun, which, despite what you may think, is actually quite useful. Not now though, but it will come useful later. There's also the Boyar, but we'll get to that later. Another type of equipment you will notice are banners. Banners are not considered weapons, obviously. Banners are used to improve the stats of your units which are close to the guy who has a banner. Basically morale boosters. Any bannered units close to your other units will give them bonuses. Extra health, extra armor, extra damage, extra everything that's useful. So yeah, consider giving a shit about that if you want an effective army. In my case, I sometimes build them, sometimes not. Depends on the situation. Normally, I suggest that you wait until your research is over before moving to the next mission. That way you'll be able to take full advantage of it. But only do this if you have resources. In fact, when you do research, be careful what you choose to do. I will do all of the research, but that's only to show you what this research is good for. What does it do? Normally you wouldn't be able to build nearly as much shit and research. But yeah, now that we have some units created, we can actually see them in the weapons production center. You will also notice in the production center here at the bottom right, unit limit 7,000. What does that mean? It doesn't mean that you can build 7,000 units. It means that you can build the amount of units that their worth sums up to 7,000 units. So yeah, you see the Palmyr costs it costs 600 credits, so I could keep building these until the unit limit would cap out. It would keep reducing by 600 until eventually it would get too low to make any more fucking units. I wonder what was the cheat again for limit. Was it this? No, probably not. Let me check on it again. Okay, it's not limit up. That's for the other games. For this one, it's I hate limits. You can set your own unit limit, and I set it to the max.